Hi, I'm Emily, and it's the last day of Spring Into Your Practice. Today we're going to give our feet, toes, ankles, and calves a little bit of love, everything below the knee, basically. Grab 2 blankets or towels, whatever you have, and make sure you fold them up so they're pretty long and narrow. And you might want to stack 2 of them on top of each other in place of a bolster. So if you have a bolster, you can go ahead and grab that instead. Place them across the mat, and you're going to come down one hip onto the support, bringing the back down onto the ground. The feet are still on the ground for a moment while you readjust, making sure that your very low back, really your tailbone and your pelvis are on the support. The low back is hanging off of it. And just take a moment here. Maybe you could even bring the knees in towards each other, maybe the hands on the belly. And just take a moment here to recognize that you've made it onto your mat. Maybe you've made it through all of the days of Spring Into Your Practice. Whatever it is, just give a little thanks to yourself and whatever got you here today. Maybe letting a sigh out. And then slowly opening the eyes if they were closed and bringing one foot at a time, carefully bringing the legs up straight towards the ceiling, the feet stacked over the hips. Initially pulling the toes in towards your face, pushing through the heels to straighten your legs. Nice stretch to the hamstrings and the back of the calves. You're spreading the toes a little bit wider. And then point the toes up to the ceiling. You could even have your kind of ball of the foot up towards the ceiling, and maybe your toes are actually spreading out a little bit wide. Either way works. Need a little funky cramp situation. Shake it out. Get back in it when you can. Bringing the toes back towards the face, kicking up through the heels, keeping the feet stacked over the hips. Slowly turn the toes out to the sides, so your toes and your knees and the whole leg, even into the hip joint, is coming with your legs as they rotate out. And then the whole leg comes in, so the toes are now facing each other, a little pigeon-toed. And then roll them back out, a little plie action. You can bring the heels together. Toes in, and the toes out. Last time, bringing the toes in, and then come back into neutral. Pointing the toes back up to the ceiling, your choice, whether it's the toes or the ball of the foot that's getting the primary action. And then spinning the knees and the whole leg out and in. Maybe you switch it up even partway through. And out. And in. Coming back out. And back in. And releasing the feet. Just pausing here for a moment with the legs straight up in the air. Seeing how your legs feel now that their feet have gotten a little bit of a stretch. Bring the knees in towards the chest, taking a brief upside down child's pose. The knees could come out wide on either side of your rib cage. The toes could come in together. Your arms are not pulling the knees into your chest, but keeping the legs from splaying out too far to the sides, and adding just a little bit more weight to let the knees and the thighs come closer in towards your chest and your torso. Bringing the knees out and away from the chest, feet come down onto the ground, turn over onto one side, pushing up with your hands and your arms, moving the blankets out and away off to the side, coming up to standing, however best suits you. Come up into standing and then planting one foot into the ground. You can take maybe your left foot so that you're on the ball of the foot, the toes on the ground, the heels up, and it's kind of out. The left knee is out to the left side. And bring a little bit more weight into the ball of the foot and the toes so you're getting a nice stretch through the toes and even the top of the foot. And then bring the weight back into the right foot as you bring the left heel down to the ground. Flatten out the left foot facing forward. Turn the right toes out to the right side, the whole knee as well. Lifting up the right heel, spreading the toes, and then slowly bringing a little bit more weight into your right toes and your right ball of your foot. And then bringing the weight back into your left foot. Now both feet facing forward. You might want to go ahead and bring your toes and your legs closer together as we come into a balancing pose. First, just coming to a strong mountain pose, pushing into your feet to lift up and away, lengthening the spine. Maybe exhale, soften. Inhale to push up and lengthen. Exhale, soften. This time, inhale, arms come up and overhead, and you lift your heels, coming to balance on the balls of the feet. Heels could come in towards each other. Gaze find something to steady to look on. Shoulders draw down the back. The arms reach up high, palms in, facing towards each other. Your arms could be more in a wide position if your shoulders are a little bit tighter or something's going on there in your body. With each inhale, pushing into the feet, lifting the heels, reaching up through the arms, pulling the belly in towards the spine. Maybe you lose your balance a little, using your toes as brakes, but try not to grip them too much. On your next exhale, slowly begin to keep the heels lifted, but sit the seat back. So you're coming into this heel lifted squat position. Your knees could come out a little bit wider, whatever feels better for you. Your torso is coming more parallel to the ground. Your arms are still reaching long out in front of you. At some point, your hands come down to the ground. Your heels come down to the ground. And then bending your knees as much as you need to. You're actually going to take your fingers and point your finger between your big toe and your second toe, middle finger between the next set of toes, all the way to your pinky finger next to your pinky toe. And your thumb can come on the outside of the big toe, repeating on the other foot. So the pointer finger in between the big toe and the second toe. And then even if you need to keep your knees bent a lot, which actually might be a good quad squat strengthening, you can stay right here, with the knees bent. If you want to, you could try to start to lengthen the legs up towards the sky, so straightening the knee. Wherever you are, tucking the chin into the chest, letting the head hang, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Even in this position, upside down. And take a couple of breaths with each exhale, seeing if you can release some of your body weight to gravity. Letting your toe spreaders, kind of like what you get when you have a pedicure, just help to soften and allow some of the tissues that we keep confined in socks and shoes all day to give them some space. Next exhale, releasing the toes, stepping the feet back, coming into a tabletop position. Keep the toes tucked in your tabletop. Start to walk your hands back. Checking to make sure your pinky toes are actually tucked under. Your toes can be together. Maybe your heels come together, bringing the torso upright. So now the weight of the torso and the seat is on tops of the heels and the feet. Maybe grabbing the wrists, forearms, or elbows behind your back. Pushing the back of your ribs into whatever you're grabbing on your forearms so you're not arching the back too much. Trying to keep the spine nice and long, body contained. Switching up the grip, so opposite forearm on top, opposite grip of the elbows or forearms. Again, making sure that your back of the ribs and spine are pushing into the forearms. The back of the neck is long. The gaze is just straight ahead, nice and steady. Steady as you try to ignore the fact that maybe your toes are cramping up here because you're not used to this position. And then on next exhale, bringing the weight forward, untucking the toes, and you can pat them against the floor to stretch them out. Keeping them untucked, pushing into your hands, setting your hands up down for downward facing dog, fingers spread really wide, point your fingers face forward or out to the sides. And you may need to do this with one foot at a time with the tops of the feet on the ground. So you could tuck one toe and then pushing back so your chest comes to your knees, then sit your seat up and getting a nice stretch to the top side of the foot with the toenails on the ground. Maybe you actually come up onto both at the same time. Getting a stretch all the way from the shins to the front of the ankles, to the tops of the feet. If you're doing one foot at a time, come down and switch up the feet. Wherever you are, see how much of your heel you can see between your legs. Maybe think about bringing more of the heel to hide behind your ankles and behind your calf. Using your leg muscles to rotate. Wherever you are, coming down with the knees down on the ground. Tuck your toes like in a regular downward facing dog. Push back. Lift the right foot immediately up toward the sky. Exhale, bringing the knee in towards the nose and stepping the foot forward, lowering the left knee, keeping the left toes tucked. Push up into a low lunge with the arms up and overhead. Push into the right heel, the left knee, the left toes. Inhale, lengthen as you push, and exhale. Maybe lean back, looking up a little further, bringing more weight into your left knee and foot. Inhale, push into the ground, lengthen, and then exhale. Maybe arching the upper back so you look up. Last inhale, and exhale the hands down to the ground. The right foot comes back into downward facing dog. One breath here. On your next inhale, the left foot goes up and towards the sky. Left knee into the nose to step forward. You can always use your hand to help move it forward. Keeping the right toes tucked. Obviously the not natural tendency. And inhale, coming straight up into a low lunge. Inhale, push into the left heel. Right knee, right toes. Exhale, looking up. Inhale, lifting away, lifting the low belly off of the left thigh. And exhale, looking up towards your hands with your chest, less with your neck. On your last inhale and exhale, hands come down to the ground. Pushing back into a downward facing dog. One big inhale here. Exhale out of your mouth. Do that again one more time. Inhaling through the nose. And exhale out of the mouth. Rocking forward, bringing the knees down to the ground. Finding whatever you were kind of lying on top of to use as a seat. Sitting on the edge. Bringing the soles of the feet together. Your knees should be ideally below your hips, so sit on something a little bit higher if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and grab another little pillow here today. And then zippering up your toes now. So take one big toe and put it in between the other big toe and the second toe. And you're slowly just going to work your way down, seeing how many toes you can get to kind of sit in between your other toes and your other foot. Some toes might not cooperate as well, and that's fine. But zippering them up, just like how you would interlace your fingers, you're now interlacing your toes together. Give them all a little extra nice squeeze. And with your funky, zippered, interlaced toes together, sitting up tall, bringing the palms up towards the sky. The hands can rest anywhere it feels good for you on the legs. And if you can, take in a couple more moments here, just in this last seated meditation. Stay here as long as you'd like. Thank you so, so much for joining me for maybe even all 10 days, if not just for today. That's wonderful. And I'm so glad that you were able to take those 15 minutes for yourself. Namaste.